Hey VC, it's Gary again, everybody. This is an extremely short, quick one. Today, I don't know if you can hear that in the background. Might be a little bit on the loud side. Hold on a second while I do the volume. This thing with classical music, it jumps great leaps in volume from one thing to the other. Today I was going to visit a friend who's in the hospital, and it's about a half-hour drive, maybe a little bit more, a little bit less. And what I decided to do was select a CD to listen to in the car, something I have never listened to in the car before, and I was going to review it when I came back. It's something I got around Christmas time. So I grabbed that CD, was getting ready to do my first driving review of only one particular album that I listened to in the car, and my recent impressions on it and whatever. And I went out to my mailbox. I'd already put that CD in my car, which I will get around to reviewing at a future time. And I went out to my mailbox, and I got this is my very first VCLT, all the way from Axel in Germany. Thank you, Axel, buddy. Dvorak's Symphony No. 9 from the New World, otherwise known as the New World Symphony. Axel had asked me if I had ever, if I had any copies of this, the actual complete full thing, which oddly enough I had it. I had little snippets of Dvorak on a lot of classical CDs that cover various composers, multiple composers on one CD. Generally what they do is they take an excerpt from an entire symphony and they'll play the best known section or something like that. But he asked me if I ever had heard the full New World Symphony, which oddly enough I haven't. And there's a part here, the second part, the Largo movement of it, the second part, is the major theme that probably everybody, I'm guessing over the age of 40, probably would know. It's strange that I haven't had this, and the Largo movement is the one that's got that main theme that everybody would have heard. But I'm sure I've never actually heard the full entire symphony from the New World. There's another piece on here, Symphonic Variations, Opus 78 on here, which is 22 minutes. Funny thing is, the length is perfect. It's about a 65-minute CD, and it was absolutely perfect. Didn't even bother with the radio at all. Put this disc right in as I was leaving home. Heard the first half of it on the trip to the hospital, the second half on the way back home. And I just got back home, and I'm driving as it's getting dark, and it's it's a nice vibe there. Got a little note from Axel here that he slipped into the book, which I'm going to keep. I'm going to slip it into the CD. I will never forget where this came from. I'm really appreciative. It's a nice classical work. It's a great classical work, I think, for folks that are trying to get into classical music and don't know where to start. I think this is one of those things that it's almost a bit like the Four Seasons, like Vivaldi, where if somebody's got a very small classical collection of maybe 25 discs or something of the mainstream well-known classical works, this would be one of them. They would probably have Dvorak's New World Symphony and the Four Seasons and things like that. And oddly enough, I didn't have this. So quite nice. 1989 recording. Very good, very clear. Beautiful, easy to get into, very accessible, nothing avant-garde or experimental about it, and that's exactly what I expected. I knew it wouldn't be. And this is a good, it's an accessible entry point, I think, for people to get into classical music. And for people already into classical music, I've never heard this whole thing. So I'm definitely going to be, I haven't done it yet, I'm definitely going to be ripping this one into my computer where it'll get many more plays at home. But this is my first VCLT, which I'm grateful for. And by the way, this is the first album ever in my lifetime, I'm pretty sure, that I got, as part of my personal collection, that I listened to first in the car before hearing anything else. Typically, back in the old days, they were vinyl albums. You couldn't play them in your car, and I, would bring them home and always play them. If I liked them, I'd make cassette copies and bring them in the car with me. Even in the CD era, when I would buy the CDs in stores, I was for whatever reason, never tempted to fumble around with the packaging so much. I was always close enough to home that I knew, hey, in 20 minutes I'm going to be listening to this at home anyway. So I never even bothered to, at a CD store, take a CD out of the packaging and play it on my way home, because I would be home long before I even got it into much of the music anyway. But because I was already out the door when I went to my mailbox, I decided, hey, let me play this instead of the album I was going to review here. And it was nice, because it's a first for an old guy like me. There's not too many firsts around anymore. So I'm happy to have heard it the first time in the car. I didn't get through quite the whole thing. I missed the last few minutes of the very last piece on the CD, but it's playing on my stereo now anyway. And thanks Axel, I appreciate it. I'm doing these things for the VC. It's really nice because right now, as I mentioned, I'm unemployed. I'm not buying any new music. But one of my reasons for joining the VC, besides having the time to do it now, is I've met some incredible people by doing it. And I knew they were incredible people already anyway, because of the comments that I would see and back and forth from me watching their videos. I didn't join here to get stuff sent to me, to be honest with you. Even though I'm not buying things for myself right now, the nice thing with being in the whole VC world is that I'm going back and listening to things I haven't listened to, and I probably wouldn't pull them out at this point in time, except it's like, hey, I'll do a video on this or that or whatever, and let me play this again. And so I'm going deep into my own collection to things that maybe I didn't even initially give very many plays to, or things that were old favorites that I just haven't put on for years. And I'm doing these videos, and I'm like, oh, I better go back and revisit this. And then I'll put something up, and because of the comments that people are sending through, it's making me go back and listen to the music. And that's only part of it. The other part of it is that I'm watching people's videos, them talking about their albums, their music collections, and certain people out there that have a common taste with me. I have a lot of similar albums, and maybe they're talking about albums that, again, I haven't played a lot. They're in my collection, but I haven't pulled them out, and it's forcing me to kind of go back and, hey, let me dig this stuff out. So thankfully I have an enormous collection as it is to go through, and it's great kind of rediscovering these. And I can guarantee you, at this point in time, I probably wouldn't be pulling those particular albums out to play, except somebody's talking about them and mentioning them, and it's like, you know what, I haven't played that in a long time, let me get my impressions of it. And then I'm seeing other people's comments on the album, like I said, and then I'm thinking, what am I going to do for my video here? And it drives me, even after I make the videos, I find myself playing the things that I'm talking about in the videos. And it's great to have a collection to do that with. And so I'm not really looking for people. I'm very appreciative of receiving this, and I'm not trying to make a case for people sending me stuff. I'm just this is wonderful. I really appreciate it. And Axel was so kind. He said, "Oh, if you didn't hear this, I'll just send it to you." And he sends it all the way from Germany, which is wonderful. So Axel, buddy, thank you so much. This is guaranteed to get a lot more plays than just today. I'm on number 2 play already. This is my first play at home, and playing on my stereo. When it's done on my stereo, I'm going to copy it into my computer, which is where I listen to most of my music from. And it's going to get a 3rd play tonight. It's wonderful, to get something new, because I haven't bought anything new for months now. And thankfully for my collection, like I said, I've got enough in there that I can just waddle through the old stuff and things I haven't heard for years, or things that maybe I never gave a lot of plays to. So I'll be back, with a video of something or other that's not quite planned yet. But I wanted to thank Axel and mark this day, kind of a unique day, my first VCLT, but also the first time I've actually listened to a CD in the car as my first listen of an album, of any album. So hope you're all doing well out there. Thanks for all the folks that have spent a lot of time watching my videos and everything else. And I'm looking forward to seeing your videos as well, for all those people on my subscription list. There's quite a few folks there that I get very excited when I see a new posting up there. So guys, I hope you're having a great weekend, or whenever you're watching this. I'll be back with another review of some type or another, or discussions fairly soon. And I hope everybody's having a great time. And thanks again, Axel, buddy. I'll be talking to you soon. Bye.